Colossians 4, 2 through 6. Continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. At the same time, pray also for us, that God may open to us a door for the word, to declare the mystery of Christ, on account of which I am in prison, that I may make it clear, which is how I ought to speak. Walk in wisdom towards outsiders, making the best use of the time. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Hi, my name is Greg, and I'm the teaching pastor at FBC Medford. Welcome to today's FBC EConnect. In the 33rd chapter of the book of Ezekiel, the prophet gives an example of something that people took for granted and assumed was always true. If a watchman was placed on a city wall, and that watchman saw an enemy approaching the city, the job of the watchman was to sound the alarm and warn the city. And there are two ways that this could go badly. First, the watchman could sound the alarm, but the people of the city could ignore his alarm. In that case, the watchman, he'd be off the hook. He did his job. If the people suffered harm for ignoring his alarm, that was their fault, not the watchman's. But what if the watchman fails to sound the alarm? In that case, if harm came to the city, the blame would be on the watchman. His job is to watch and sound the alarm. Really, what happens after that isn't really his job. The book of Colossians picks up this language in the verses that we just read. We're told to be steadfast in prayer, being watchful in it. The Apostle Paul was connecting prayer with watchfulness, and it wasn't accidental. While praying for others is a joyful privilege, it's much more than that. The Bible wants us to have a sense of responsibility when it comes to praying for one another. In fact, we're to have the same sense of responsibility as a watchman stationed on a city wall. If someone needs help, we sound the alarm by praying for them. With alertness, urgency, and steadfastness, we ask God to intervene and give His help. A steadfast watchman doesn't view his role as something to do only if he feels like it. His job isn't merely a favor or a nice thought. No, a steadfast watchman, he recognizes that there is a duty and a responsibility for others, for their benefit, by seeking the Lord on their behalf. That's how Christians are called to view praying for one another. I'll look forward to seeing you in church on Sunday. This week during our time in the Word, we'll look at Colossians 4, verses 2 through 6. I'll see you then.